You can really tell how fragile a man's ego is and how jealous he is of a woman by his proposal. The New York Times had to remind people, and by people I mean men, not to propose to women during the marathon this coming weekend. So my buddy Selena, she's a great comedian, follow her. She posted this. This was like, the New York Times was like, hey, with the big marathon looming, friendly reminder, proposing to your beloved as they run a marathon or immediately after is a monstrous way to steal focus from their achievements and make the day about you. So y'all know, if you click this comment that this is attached to, y'all know how I feel about marathon. I've been talking about this for, I don't even know, 6 months or longer, about how men's selfishness, entitlement, and their even financial abuse and just, exploitation of their wives comes out in their relationship to their hobbies, but especially like marathons or things that take a massive amount of time. So the last video I talked about this piece where they finally said what I've been talking about in this piece, and it's reported, and it's a great article. But what I did not know was a trend, but of course it is, is that there have been multiple instances of a woman running a marathon and a man ruining that for her by proposing and making it all about her. Now, before I continue, if you run marathons and you love it and you are not exploiting someone in order to do so, good for you. I know people who run marathons. My friends have run them. I've cheered them on. I am talking about exploitation under patriarchy and what men do to their wives. And on the rare occasion that a wife, especially a mother, actually runs a marathon, it's usually a good thing for her because sometimes that is the only time she has to herself outside of that home. Unless they have a marriage where they're actually sharing the invisible labor, the emotional labor, the load, the domestic labor, all that stuff, which so few marriages are. So I just Googled marathons, marriage proposals, and there were so many examples. I didn't even have time to go into all of them. There's one, just has to do it, has to make it about him. Like there was all these examples. I had to pick a few. But what the New York Times is referring to is this one in 2018. And y'all, this story is so perfect because it lines up with so many things I'm talking about. Because rightfully so, this man was shamed for doing this. Lots of people were like, oh my God, wow. But a lot of other people saw right through this. This man proposed in the middle of the marathon at mile marker 16. She had 10 more to go. Look at this. CBS is like, she said yes. Therefore, making her whole marathon experience, which she probably spent 6 months, maybe even a year training for, all about him picking her. So apparently she was like, I cried a little bit, said yes, hugged him, and I'm gonna finish my race. Look at this. Apparently he was very nervous about this moment. Aw, you were a little nervous? God. So then after the marathon, instead of celebrating her in this massive accomplishment, they went out to study their engagement. So the day about her is now about their engagement. I like that men called this out like, whoa, bro. But this right here is what needed to say. If he really loved her, he would have waited until after the race, given her a massage, taken her to a nice dinner, left her alone all night so she could have a nice long rest. Because these people can barely walk after this. And then the next morning, make breakfast for her and then do the thing, right? But then, you get people like this. You just name the ideal proposal. This is the kind of sentiment of a lot of men, and this is the sentiment of women who have very low standards. You deserve more than a man ruining this massive, maybe once in a lifetime accomplishment. As a writer, if I won an Oscar for writing something and worked so hard for that, and then my boyfriend proposed to me on my walk down the steps or even up the steps, I would break up immediately with that person. The male ego was too small to let her get all the attention for even a few hours. I mean, the least this man could have done is waited till the end. Even that would be super selfish. But in the middle, how is she supposed to finish knowing this massive thing? And there's no way she's going to say no. There's no way she's going to say no in that moment. And that is, honestly, that's one of the things I have the biggest issue with in these big public proposals. They're so often not even about the marriage or her. They're all about him. If someone proposed to me on one of those Gobotron, what do you call it? The big screens at a sporting event. How am I supposed to say no? That I have no option. I will have 50,000 people being like, disappointed. Men love these public proposals to humiliate the woman. And a lot of times it's a shut up ring, like my mutual Cecilia talks about all the time. It's a shut up ring. But even if it's not, if they are making a proposal all about them and putting you on the spot, especially if you're like a shy person, that man hates you. Or at the very least, doesn't know you. And even if he does, he doesn't care because it's always about him. Like, the guy could wait like 2 hours. What a tool. I love that. And then some woman was like, well, maybe he just knew that the time wasn't that big of a deal for her. I'm sorry, if you're running a marathon, the time is a big deal. And I love that this woman was like, cool, okay, go Google the requirements to run the New York City Marathon and then come back and tell her that time doesn't matter. 52,000 people run this race. It is the largest marathon in the world. Every second counts in a marathon. And look at this, y'all. You know, I've been talking about hero complex guys and firefighters. This man was a fireman. Of course he was. They have to be the hero. They have to be the big man. They've been together 4 years. And that would prove Cecilia's point. Sounds like a shut up ring. I'm gonna make her wait 4 years. And I know the perfect day, the one day that's all about her. That's when I'll finally give it to her. And you know, can you imagine? Like, she is halfway through a marathon. And now she's got to stop and hug him and you know, it's not just marathons. In the Rio Olympics, this woman won a silver medal, and this man just had to make it all about him. Y'all, I could probably do a whole playlist on all the times that men try to ruin women's most important moments of their lives or any of their big achievements. This is so common. I wish I had known to look for this when I first started dating. Men who are very jealous of you will do everything to dim your light. And if a man cannot come to something important to you and cheer you on and not make it about him at all and not need you to acknowledge all the things, you know, just cheer you on and support you and be your number one fan because you are his number one fan. If a man is not doing that to you, that man is going to exploit the crap out of you. He's going to ruin your life. He's going to suck you dry. He's going to be a parasite, a vampire like some of these men. And then after you give him kids and all this other stuff, he's going to cheat on you. Men do not respect women who sacrifice for them. They cheat on them. And a man who sabotages even in the slightest way, like making it centering himself again when you're doing something amazing, that is a man who does not respect you. He doesn't even see you because he cannot take the focus off himself. Patriarchy has taught him to do that. And in those relationships, you will lose yourself. Ask any woman who's been married to a man or even dated a man like that. When you finally get out of that relationship, if you get out, you won't even know who you are anymore because all those little big achievements and even little ones don't even matter. Everything is about him.